Hi, my name is Marco Roman and it is my political podcast. So, today we have a lot of news. Not really all of them are really good, but still, we'll talk about harassment in Russia and in government. And we'll talk about new candidate for presidency, Zhirinovsky, Russian Trump version. Hope you'll enjoy it. So, let's start with the sad news for me, not very sad for others. We don't have private companies in Russia in fields like oil, gas, etc. So one of the main person there, main management, Sechin, basically all people who control these businesses are Putin's friends, and they don't really interested in their clients. They're more interested how to make government more happy because of their work. So he asked for have some money for his Rosneft business, and he asked for 145 billions rubles to help him to develop his company. And of course, a lot of people in government are against it. I think he'll receive this money because he's very powerful. Some say that has the same power as Putin has. He's an oligarch. Probably this money will be stolen or they will be used not very efficiently. We'll see. The problem I have is always because this business is not interested in their clients. They want their interest is to make government happy, make statistics good. They not rely on their clients' interests, so they're not really interested in producing good service. So that's why they ask government, because they're very good government and they hope the government will support them. If we'll cut all this business from government, they'll have to start to think about their clients more and to do for their clients more, etc., etc., and it will be better service. Oil costs extremely a lot in Russia. Nobody understands why. I can explain you, because government involved in this. And when these businesses will work on their own, they'll produce better quality, better service. But nobody interested in it, and it's really bad news, because this money, where they come from? They come from taxation, from normal people, and that's sad, because why people should support this person? Because he's just another manager from another government company, and all this sad. So, next one, harassment in government. There is a Senator Slutsky, and a few journalists said that they were harassed by him, and of course he said no. Then he apologized on 8th of March and said, and he didn't apologize for harassment. He said, I'm sorry if I did anything bad to other people, because it wasn't intentionally. And of course a lot of people says, why you say this? Why you didn't just say sorry for your actions? But he didn't. Then another thing that so we have very weird woman and she works in a position of the manager of family, manager of family, let's say like this, and she said that a journalist should wear more modest, and that's terrible, of course. I can understand why she said this, but she said that, well, he's not a bad guy and he would never do anything bad. And I think that the problem is that this woman always wear very short clothes, and that's their problem. That's a terrible thing to say. You're blaming victims. Even if I can understand her in terms that, of course, it's a government building, and all people in government have some kind of corporation, not like law, but like corporation idea, how everyone should be looked like, what kind of clothes you're allowed to wear, etc. I can understand this idea. There is corporative ethics, and that's fine. But to blame people because they were not modest enough, That's really terrible. And you kind of can see I think you can understand the idea of attitude to women and feminism itself in Russia, because we are kind of slow in these terms in like 50 years. So there are still problems in blaming victims and saying that, oh, women are. So the idea is that we are very different from the attitude towards women are different from Western countries, and we are more traditional, but in terms that Russia is more traditional, not we, in terms that woman is a great person, but she will be more happy doing with kids and cleaning house, etc. And her duty is to be more beautiful, be nice, be etc. All this be. But it's not like woman must. It's then an idea that then man should earn more money, he must protect her, etc. So it's like both sides are kind of under this control, I would say, and that's very sad. So we really need feminism in terms of that more freedom to people, but not, of course, blaming victims for their style of wearing clothes. This is disgusting. Another things that a few women and one of the candidates for presidency, Ksenia Sobchak, they made some kind of protest in front of government building in Moscow. And I think it was kind of funny. They said, "We don't want you," and it means like in sexual means we don't want you as a sexual partner. But somehow policemen came and they took them to police building and had some kind of talk with them about their behavior, and they let them go, and they explained it only because of the 8th of March, because of the International Women's Day. And that's really terrible. I mean, I just finished a book of Viktor Bukovsky. Recommend to read this book to everyone. And he says he was a prison in Russia because of politics in Soviet Russia, because he was in psychiatric hospital because of this, etc. Just terribly amazing story. And what kind of talk policemen can have with a girl who decided to protest? I can't really understand. And the thing like, oh, you're allowed to go just because of the International Women's Day. So in other case, you would put her in prison for this? That's kind of a lot. So I don't really understand what's going on and why this is doing. That is, that in Constitution we have a right to protest any way we want, but then government made a few laws that are unconstitutional, and they said you should always ask government if you're allowed to do this or not. So it's kind of, we have a law why policemen can take them, but it's like, guys, that's just so unfreedom, so Soviet Union style. Of course, it's not as bad as Soviet Union. I don't say this, but still, why you need to do this? That's really bad. Not a democracy. I mean, I don't think that anybody expect to be Russia be a democratic country or something like this, but we are not doing better. Like, really. Then another situation happened then in one of the city near Moscow. There was a garbage pit, and it became so big and terrible that people started to feel smell and like bad smell, and there are a lot of chemicals now in the air that are dangerous for people. And a few, I think it's like 10 or maybe more people came to this garbage pit to block cars so they will not bring more garbage. And policemen came and asked them politely to not doing this, and everything was very polite. But again, people, why you need to use police. Maybe police should do their job and investigate crimes and etc. Maybe one, I don't know, senator should come and talk with them and explain to them, yeah, we see a problem, we are working on this. It's again, I don't really see the communication between government and people. Moreover, I think there's very less, like very small level of communication, and that's sad. And again, it's just not going better. And I don't think when Putin will be elected again that we'll see any kind of difference. I would say that it will be worse. And it's not helpful to anyone. Please stop it, guys. Please. Yeah, this is kind of all short news in Russia. Nothing bad happened. Another thing that we have problems with Ukraine again in terms of the gas. So we were selling them gas for who knows how many years, and now they said that Russia dude, it's too expensive and we will not buy this. So Russia says, okay, we don't care, we will not sell you anymore, and they have some legal suit in Stockholm. Stockholm court, and Ukraine won it, and Russia said, whatever, we'll just not give you gas. And then Poroshenko bought gas in Europe with the more high prices and said that, well, we'll make Russia pay for this. Does it remember anything? Yeah, it's like Trump said that we'll make them pay for wall. It's like, this is a stupid idea. Nobody in Mexico will ever pay for wall. Nobody in Russia will ever pay for your mistakes to buy more expensive gas. And I like reaction from Russia that Kremlin just said, and Poroshenko, president of Ukraine, said that, well, we'll destroy Russia with this court decision. And of course Kremlin said, they promised to destroy us for 1,000 years already. Go on, we are waiting for this. And it's true. The Ukrainian experiment became really another dictatorship thing, and it's all terrible. Life in Ukraine terrible. They didn't implement good laws. They just changed one dictatorship for another, and that's really bad. And nothing good is going there. But all the time they just blame Russia for everything, and that's stupid. I don't know his names, unfortunately, but on the 8th of March, the president of UN said that a world should give women rights, should give women power, and should make them like strong and better, and etc. And I hate it, and I'll explain why. The problem with this that we shouldn't give women rights. We shouldn't give women power in government or whatever. We should give power to professionals. We should give power to people who knows what to do with this. That's a thing. It's a sexist thing to say that we should give all the power to women because what? Because there's no any idea why. Because it's just a trend in so-called socialist countries that all women are oppressed. So if all women would be in power, we would have only peace. Do you know about queens in monarchy? That like Yekaterina II in Russia, Queen Elizabeth in England, Spanish queens, French queens. They didn't really make it better. I'm not saying that they did it worse. They did the same as men, as kings. So why, if women in power, the world will be better? There is no real explanation. It is discrimination against men then. Please, guys, if you see that women are not represented enough, that's a thing, and I think somebody should deal with this. But to say that we should give all the power in government to women, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And a bit about America. So Trump signed tariffs for steel and aluminum. I said it in Russian, maybe it's wrong. So whatever. So now to buy steel in America, you need to pay 20% more, and that's terrible. All the protectionist laws doesn't work. don't work. They never worked, they will never work. Why? Because the idea is that you make other countries to buy your steel for a higher price. Do you know what other countries do? They will all not buy your they will all not buy your stuff, or they'll make other things higher in price for you. Do you know who suffer all the time? People. Consumers are suffering. Normal people always suffer. People in bureaucracy, people in government don't have anything wrong with it. They just want to use their power to make people's life worse. That's terrible. It's a bad decision. You shouldn't do this. Another thing that Trump said, that he'll make less tariffs for Canada and Mexico. Do you know what will happen? America will trade with Canada and Mexico, and Europe will trade with Canada and Mexico, and then all the steel will go from Europe to Canada and Mexico and then to America. Who is benefits? Only Canada and Mexico, not America, and Americans, of course, not benefits at all. That's terrible politics. Protectionist politics never work. They sound good as socialism, but it never works. That's all. So, about our candidate, Russian Trump. So, as we always said, we had Russian Trump before Trump. Zhirinovsky, he's a main president of Liberal and Democratic Party, but it's not liberal and it's not democratic. He is a president of this party for 20 years already, I think, maybe even more. He's trying to be a president the same amount of time as everyone. He's just a puppet there. It's very sad to me to talk about him because he's an extremely smart man. I respect him a lot, but his policy is terrible. He never done anything useful. All the time, everything he's doing is just screaming and making himself as a clown. When I saw his interview, where he was completely normal, very calm, he's a great person. It's interesting him to listen. But when he's in government buildings, he just changed immediately and he became clown, always screaming, saying stupid stuff, and nobody believes in him because he's just nonsense. And he made a program, 100 Steps, and I read this program and it's terrible because it's not right and it's not left. It's some kind of a mix of right and left. Some of the ideas is good, some of the ideas are good, some of them are terrible, and I think he's trying to take votes from both sides. But again, it's really sad. I mean, he's an extremely smart man. He had very good education, and when he come and just talk with people, he's very smart, extremely. But he just literally sold his political power to Putin and just to government, and that's sad because he could really do some changes in Russia. But as always, he'll receive some kind of like 5 or 10% in, I think like 5-7 in the general vote, and nobody will remember about him for next 6 years. Again, that's really sad because he's a very smart man. He can do something, but because of the money, he decided that it's not worth it. And then another thing that he always hate communism, said that communism is a terrible thing and blah blah blah. But do you know who is his best friend? The president of the Communist Party, and that's terrible. And yes, we have a Communist Party still. Another thing that I watched his short videos about election, where he says some very loud words. It's so bad. Like the quality. I mean, not even the sense of the videos, but qualities of videos. It looks like I'm watching a video from 1990, like really bad one, really. And I don't understand why he even did it, because they're so bad. And of course the idea is when sometimes it looks like he just don't know what he should say. I'm not saying about he's old, he's like 70 something, like Trump, but I'm not saying like he's stupid or anything, or he's losing his memory. No, it looks like he's not interested in this. Like he don't really care. He doesn't really care about it, and that's just sad. Because why? We know that you're a smart man. Why you're doing all this? That's really sad. Basically, I would say that if you, in terms like compared to Putin or Zhirinovsky, I would choose Putin because Putin has right-wing politics and left-wing economic ideas. I completely don't agree with it, but still between Putin and Zhirinovsky, Putin much better, and Zhirinovsky is just a clown, and that's very sad because at least Trump is doing something for the country. I'm really afraid what Zhirinovsky could do because we never seen him doing anything seriously, and there's no chance. I don't believe that he could do any good politics. That was all. It was kinda short news. You'll listen to me on Monday, and I hope you'll have good weekends. Bye bye.